everyone. Welcome to the Stateside Soccer Show. My name is Jordan Wiegand, and with me today is Logan Stone.
I feel like it's been a long time since we've done this podcast for some reason. Like it feels like years ago. Why does it feel like that long?
It's only been
a week, right?
Days. Yeah. We usually record on Mondays, but
that's true.
I was off yesterday. I went to the ballpark, so I got all that good stuff.
Now, were you seeing a baseball game or were they playing soccer?
They were playing both at the same time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. That makes sense. That's why Baltimore doesn't get an expansion team then. It's hard to play two teams at once.
Yeah, we don't play fairly. Kind of got the Astros thing going for us. But no, they were playing a baseball game. I went to Baltimore Orioles opening day. That was fun. I'm pretty sure I got food poisoning there, by the way.
Nice.
I didn't feel good after a certain point in the game, and then I came home and did not feel good at all. So,
didn't you eat like a corn dog or something? What were you eating? You texted me what you would eat.
I was looking for a pretzel. I didn't
That's
find it.
Oh.
Every place that had like the jumbo super pretzel thing had it empty. And then there was a pretzel place down on the first floor, but it had a huge line that I was like, I'm not getting done until the 9th inning. And it was like the 6th. So went back upstairs and got a burger and fries. I think the burger is what got me. But what I will say is remind me not to go to opening day by myself ever again.
Bad? Crowded?
It was a mess. Yeah, it was crowded. It was crowded. For some reason, I'm sitting in this section all the way up top where they had like VIPs, like not like special VIPs. It was like a company must have bought out all these seats or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they all knew each other. They all kept changing seats. They all kept going up and down the steps. I'm on an aisle seat. So like anytime something exciting is happening, I'm having to like move like this to make sure I can see the pitch coming because they're all just going up and down the steps and they're all yelling like, "Hey, Steven, can I sit next to your wife?" And it's like 20 rows different between them. I didn't know what was going on, but I was frustrated. And then plus I wasn't feeling well. So
yeah.
Overall, good experience. Orioles won. Good game. But the rest of the experience, I was like, it was super crowded. It was like just going to walk anywhere. The store, as soon as you walk in, is pretty much where the line to check out started. So you can barely even squeeze your way through the store. And it was even that way in the 6th and 7th innings when I went back down there. So I felt suffocated a bit.
So how, like in comparison, like Union, is the food better there? Is the like atmosphere better? Is it crowded in Philly, like at soccer games?
Well, I guess Union games can be busy. They can, but you know their stadium only fits 18,000 compared to the Orioles fitting 41,000, which is what was there yesterday. So that made it a little bit more difficult. Union have some really good food up at Subaru Park. I like a lot of their food. I wanted to try some of the more special food at Camden Yards that just came in, like Jimmy Seafood and stuff, but I'll have to do that on a day like when it's not super slammed because everything on like the bottom floor was a huge line. So that was a mess. And the reason why I say I could probably do it if I had my wife with me or a friend with me because I can have somebody still sit at the seats while I go get something or, you know, it'd be a little easier that way. Like I don't know. That's how it was. I'm usually somebody that can go to a lot of these events by myself. I've done it a lot.
Yeah.
Last year I had a lot of fun when I went to go see Shohei by myself, but it was not as fun this time. And I think it had to do with the crowds because usually on a good day, the Orioles are filling up like 7,000 seats. Right? So like, you know, usually have the run of the place. And at this time I'm like, what is everybody doing here? But obviously it's opening day. But Logan, you'll get to experience Subaru Park hopefully soon enough. We're going to try to get you up here one of these days.
I really want to go to Subaru, especially with how well the Union played. I mean, they're like a spectacle to see now. But yeah, no, I want to see Subaru. I think that I think honestly though, I think you and I might be in the same boat here. I think that the number one on my bucket list is to visit Providence. Um, but I just like visiting stadiums as it is, like any stadiums. I like going to
Mhm.
sports games. I don't know. I don't know if you're the same way, but I like to get there early and just like walk
Yeah.
around, hang out, just kind of vibe. I hate walking up on games when the game's about to start. In fact, I think I told you guys this story last year when I took Ashley to her first Orlando City game, and she was kind of lollygagging a little bit, and then like she was hungry, and I was like trying to get food, and I was pissed off because the crowds were so like there was so much of a crowd like standing in the concessions, and I was mad. It was kind of like raining a little bit, so I mean I was just mad because like we'd missed the first like minute 30, but
Yeah.
it was like God, I just like getting there early and not having the issues of
That's how I am. So if it was you and I going to a game, Logan, we'd have no
yeah.
problem. We'd get there super early.
I'd be there opening the gates for everybody.
But like yesterday I didn't get there as early as I want to. So my original plan was to like shoot this video for my
Mhm.
blog, right? And get down there super early, hang out at Pickles Pub, which is across the street, and kind of
Yeah.
like get some good footage. But then I was looking on Twitter before I left at one point, and it was slammed there too, like where you could barely even walk up to the building. So I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna stress myself out about that. I'll still get there an hour early. I got there at 2 o'clock, but by the time I still got into the gates and everything, it's 2:30. Game was 3:05. So there you go. But with when my wife is with me, usually any game, we're usually getting there late. So she's usually somebody that'll kind of slow me down. So
Mhm.
um, I'm somebody that likes to get there. Yeah, if they say that the gate's opening at a certain time, I like to be there for gate opening so I can look around, take some video. Like I'm going to. People haven't probably heard this yet, but I'm going to see the Hudson River Derby
Mhm.
in July. I don't know if I talked about it yet, but I'm going there, and I'm going with my dad. So I think we're going to get there probably early because they're also doing a scarf giveaway. So I'm hoping
Oh,
to
that'd
get
be
there
cool.
for
Yeah.
that. And I'm going to be doing like a blog video about like a vlog about my experience there. So I'm going to try to get a lot of footage and stuff filmed for that for our audience here that's listening to us go off on this tangent for the first 10 minutes of the show. But that's what's heading your way. But I also left late yesterday because then I actually decided to record a podcast with Jack from Final Third Show. We're doing Behind the Dreams, a Disney podcast,
Mhm.
and we recorded one yesterday. I'm going to sit on it for 2 weeks before it goes out. But
Yeah.
we recorded it yesterday because we were both free since I was off work and he didn't have any like school stuff. So then that kind of pushed me to leaving a little late. So
Yeah. It would be interesting though to kind of get the listeners like what is your routine like listeners like
yeah,
if you're
are you a
going to a ballpark,
tailgater?
right?
Like
Are
Chris,
you
when Chris Smith came over and
Yep.
visit, he was at the crowds early in Charlotte and Atlanta tailgating. Let us know if you're a tailgater. Let us know if you're somebody that's walking in the 5th minute
Yeah,
of the
pub
game.
hopping. Yeah.
Uh,
Fourth inning of a game like 30 minutes in the game. I was always confused by that. Like I want to know those people. I'd love to have somebody on that is okay showing up. I mean, I've had people when I had season tickets to Orlando, this couple next to me, I swear to you, every single time, Jordan, they came in at like 35 minutes. I'm like, were you like outside hanging out or what were you doing? Like, where were you?
Sometimes probably they're probably
Yeah,
doing something, hopefully around
maybe.
the stadium and not just late. Because
Right.
I mean, the issue would be right is that you're running out of like, especially a soccer game. It's only 90 minutes. You
Yeah,
got to make sure you're like that is something I want to be there all the time. Baseball, you miss a pitch or two,
that's
whatever, right?
true.
Like
Yeah.
you're gonna probably see 9 innings. That's gonna take around 3 hours, right? With games like soccer where it's only 90 minutes, 45 and 45. Like here's this example of when I was super late, right?
Hmm.
FedEx Field sucks, right? We went to go see Chelsea versus Barcelona.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've talked about it on the show, but we went to go see
Hmm.
Chelsea Barcelona in DC at FedEx Field in Hanover. There's one way in, one way out. And we left early. Like I made sure my wife left early. We went to pick up my friend very early. We were leaving early. We get down there and we get stuck in traffic. We don't get parked until after the game kicks off. By the time we get through security and up to our seat, it is the 44th minute and they start going into halftime.
Ugh.
So that
That's
was
awful.
brutal.
I hate those
So
stadiums.
that's why I don't want them to get a World Cup game.
Yeah, no, but I hate those kind of stadiums. You can't have that. You've got to have, like, I love Orlando. There's about 96 different ways that you can
Yeah.
get to the stadium, and I love it because there's so much parking around because it's in a not so great neighborhood, but they've kind of emptied out those buildings and they use those as like dilapidated houses, front
Well,
yards, and stuff like that.
any place, even in a city, like
Yeah.
if we're talking about Baltimore getting a World Cup game compared to DC,
Hmm.
Baltimore, it's easier because you can literally park in any of the parking garages around those two stadiums
Hmm.
and just walk. And it takes like 10, 20 minutes, depending on where you park at, to get there.
Right.
It's not like a Hanover, like the FedEx Field is on its own site. There's nothing around it. And it's brutal. And I remember getting stuck in traffic on the way out of there when I went to see Brazil versus USA in 2012, and we were stuck there for a long time before we got out of there. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's our stadium rant, I guess. But yes, I'll be going to Hudson River Derby up at Red Bull Arena in July, and in June, as I mentioned before on here, I'm going to see RSL versus Crew, like June 25th or whatever day. It's right around my birthday.
Mm.
So I'm going to be going there. So if anybody's listening and going to those games and you want to hang out or meet or whatever, let us know. But those are two soccer stadiums I'm going to be marking off the list this year. I wish they had like one of these things.
Yeah, that would be cool.
For people listening, I have like a baseball one of these where you scratch off the stadium. Those are fun.
Jordan, hide that. Let's delete that from the thing. We'll make it.
Yeah. I think there are some, yeah. But they're not updated. I think they don't have they probably don't have the new
Charlotte or Nashville.
Yeah, I think the last updated one was like before Cincy or whatever. So, and then even then they have new stadiums now, right? So
right.
Be a little tough. All right, let's get into it. Philadelphia Union, we just talked about them in Subaru Park having great food. Well, you know what else they have also? They have a great team, and they are top of the Supporter Shield standings and top of the Eastern Conference. They have 16 points. That is 2.67 points per game. At home, they are 3 wins, 1 draw, and away they have 2 wins. No losses on the season for the Union at this point. They've only given up 2 goals. And the last time they've given up a goal was about a month ago. They have not given up one since March. When was that? March. I had it up here before. Let me check it again. They had given up a goal against what team was that?
Montreal on March 5th.
There you go, March 5th.
Wow.
So, and the game before that was the season opener against Minnesota where they finished 1-1. So that's 5 straight wins for them. 4 of those clean sheets, 3 of those 2-0 victories. Now, of course, they haven't played anybody super good yet, I guess you'd say. NYCFC was good last year. This year, they haven't been. Charlotte's been pretty decent this year. They beat them 2-0. They beat the Crew 1-0. San Jose is a dumpster fire. They beat them 2-0. Montreal is hot and cold. They beat them 2-1. It's kind of hard. I mean, they're a good team. They're going to be a good team. But they have Toronto coming up this weekend away. Then they'll play Montreal at Subaru. And they have Nashville away. And that opens up Nashville Stadium, I believe, on May 1st.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So pretty cool upcoming schedule here for the Union. Now, of course, that 1-0 victory over the Crew was a Eloy Room own goal. Not a great goal. If he probably doesn't touch it, it's not going in at all, right? So kind of brutal, but there you go. Just win, right? Just win. So their next few games are Toronto, Montreal, and Nashville, and then they'll face LAFC, Red Bulls, and Inter Miami. So that's like their next 6 opponents. What are your thoughts on the Union, Logan?
I think we talk about it every time, right? We talk about the defense and just how strong they are
Yeah, some
defensively.
podcasts won't talk about them. We'll talk about them.
We'll gladly talk about them just because I like watching their games, and I think I've gone to this before where I'm pretty sure I've watched more Union games than anybody in the whole league just because of the CCL games last year. I watched them in MLS is back a lot, and it was just a lot of fun to watch the Union play. But now watching them play in this second season that I've been covering the league, I've just been really impressed. It just seems like when they go down a guy and Ariel plays, or Ariel, or however you pronounce his name, he's played well. Glesnes has played well. Jack Elliott's played well. You got Kai Wagner. When Mbaizo's not playing well, you can kind of drop guys in and out in that back line. It doesn't really change much. You got the best goalkeeper in the league right now, and Andre Blake. There's not a lot to really pick at this Union team right now. I mean, Jim Curtin's coaching at an unbelievably high rate. Two American coaches just kind of tearing up the leagues here in the last couple of weeks between he and Jesse Marsh. It's all good signs. It's all pointing to the positive. Gazdag doesn't get a goal here, but he's played extremely well. He'd gone on that real nice stretch. I think it was 4-4, where he scored 4 goals in 4 straight. 5 straight wins for the Union. And like you said, I mean, they're not great opponents, but I still think that they're, top team in the East. They've been playing like the top team in the East. And when you only give up 2 goals, you deserve to be in that top spot. And I know Jordan's much more into loving the defense than the defensive effort. He always, hits home on just how important it is for teams to play defensively, and they can go in and get games on the road. And that's what the Union can do. That's what a lot of teams in this league can't do. If you can defend
I'm a Baltimore kid. We were raised on defense.
Right. You go nowhere near that logo in Baltimore. You got eaten alive. But it just seems like everything's going up, coming up gravy for the Philadelphia Union. And man, is Jim Curtin making quite a resume for himself wherever he does end up eventually.
Look, this is it's tough, right? It's still early, but Jack asked me before, do you see them as favorites for MLS Cup? I would say no still, just because MLS Cup is a hard thing to kind of just pick, right? Like Revs ran away with it, didn't win it, right?
Right.
But I'll take another supporter shield. I'll take another supporter shield. I'll take another berth into the Champions League. Why not? Like I'll take that gladly. Obviously, the main thing is MLS Cup, and it'd be cool to win it. But if we were to win Supporter Shield again, I would take that. And I think it would even look more legitimate this year because of the actual schedule compared to 2020's. But just anything that keeps adding trophies to the trophy cabinet and to Jim's resume would surely be a really good thing for the Union. So like I said, they're first place. Let's go to second place in the East, Orlando, 11 points. They've played 7 games compared to the Union 6. They have a goal differential of 1. They've scored 8 and given up 7. They're 2-2-0 at home, so they've lost 2 games at home. And on away, they're actually unbeaten, 1 win and 2 draws. What do you take from Orlando right now, who beat Chicago at Exploria Stadium in a, I guess, not super crowded attendance, right? Only 16,000.
No, yeah, it was empty.
But Kara getting a goal in the 59th minute, a red card for Chicago in the 43rd. What were your thoughts on the performance here from Orlando?
Yeah, I mean, I thought they kind of had played on par with Chicago in that first half. But then when Gutierrez gets that red card in the 43rd, which was just idiotic, I don't really know why he did it, but there's been some really questionable red cards lately. Just guys, I forget who it was a couple of weeks ago, or it might have been last week, where somebody grabbed somebody behind and just threw him down the ground for a second yellow. I think it might have been I'm not even gonna guess, but it's just been one ridiculous red card after the next, and that was all the difference. After that happened, Orlando settled in the attack. I thought they looked phenomenal. 61% possession. They had 21 shots, 6 shots on goal. Facundo Torres started to get more comfortable. He started attacking the box. Orlando started throwing more guys forward. I thought that Mauricio Pereira played really well. Patos looked fantastic. Pato, I think he was right up against almost one xG and one XA. So it was the expected goals and the assists are there. Pato gets a lot of chances going forward. He's created a lot of chances for Kara. Kara's created a lot of chances for Kundo. So it really has turned into like this spearhead of 3 or 4 attacking players for Orlando City. They're finally starting to come into their own, and that's huge for Orlando. Just because when we struggled last year is because we just couldn't get guys to score. We didn't have DK last year, and had Pato was out hurt. So you had a lot of guys that really struggled to spearhead the attack. But with these guys healthy, it looks good. But I'd still say they're not the second best team in this East. I don't believe. I still think they're going to have issues defensively. Antonio Carlos, he's one of the best center backs in the league, and you're going to miss that pretty much. They did come out and say it's going to be 2 to 3 months instead of maybe the whole year. So he could come back. But again, that's a hamstring issue that those things can be kind of nagging. So I don't really know how long that'll really be. But so far, so good. But they have a game in hand as well. I think they have one more game than anybody else in the league with 7. I think them and Charlotte in the East, and then a couple other teams in the West.
Yes.
But they've got the advantage there. I don't know. I guess we'll see. We beat weak teams. It's the teams that we, middle of the table to the top of the table that we struggle with. So.
All right. How about Miami and New England? This was a game, right? 3-2 Miami at Driv Pink Stadium. We had the 11th minute goal for New England that gave them their only lead of the day, with Renix scoring, Justin Renix, in the 11th minute. Then you had in the 17th minute Campagna scoring in the 17th minute. 23rd minute, he scores again to make it 2-1. Revs are going to pull it back with a penalty by Carlos Heel in the 67th minute. Then Campagna is going to score a hat trick in the 88th minute to give Miami a much needed 3 points. That now puts them at 4 points and puts them even with the New England Revolution on points. Logan, we just talked about how NYCFC and New England have kind of struggled this season. What do we think is going wrong there? Is it just the CCL stuff, or is there anything else that is just, or is it just odd MLS stuff as we know this league?
It's a combination. I think that it's this combination of guys not being healthy. Gustavo Bo's not healthy. Adam Books is out injured as well. It shouldn't be too long before the both of them are back. But that's key and what you lose there in the attack. Carlos Heel hasn't been the MVP level caliber player that you kind of see. I think you do see a lot of that coming off of. I think these guys are picking up knocks and naggles from different games and training that they have to do for all these games. They had the CCL blow up where they lost to Pumas when they were ahead 3-0 on aggregate. They lose in penalties and just a disaster of a penalty shootout. Then you've got the issues of Matt Turner not being healthy. He's in training again. I did see a tweet today that he was back in training, so that's good for the Revs, good for Arsenal, and really good for the U.S. men's national team to see Matt back. But Jordan, did you know that this is the first time in Bruce Arena's career that he has lost 4 straight MLS games, which I found to be shocking. But that's wild that it has taken this long for Bruce to lose 4. But I don't know. And Miami's kind of looked. There's moments where Miami's look like they're decent, and then there's moments they look like one of the worst teams in the league. They kind of have like that up and down roller coaster of a ride. Other coaches and stuff will tell us that they're the best team in the East, but we're still not in that kind of belief system. But yeah, I don't know. With the Revs, do you think it's more CCL? Like I feel like it's more than that. Like I feel like we're into the part of the season where that should kind of be shaken off. The rust should start to come off a little bit, but it seems like this team's just kind of stuck.
I don't know. They have Matt Turner injury, right? It looks like he was back at training today, or I didn't see him wearing a boot in the video today. So I don't really know. I mean, it's kind of an odd situation all around. I don't think you can put it all on Bruce or anything.
No.
I think I don't know. I think sometimes this just happens with Supporter Shield winners. The next
Hmm.
year they just suck for a bit. It's still an early season part of the season, right? Like they're only 4 points from a playoff spot, so all they need to do is get on a tear, and they'll be good. But it just the biggest thing, right? The biggest thing for me is their home record of 1 win and 2 losses. This is a place where they never lost last year. I think they lost 2 times last year, and now they've already matched that number this early in the season. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Of that is a big difference. That place was like a fortress for them last year, where they weren't really losing a lot, and now they've already lost 2, and usually late losses when they're playing at home. And another late loss here. I think their defense needs some work. For Miami
Yeah.
as well, their defense still needs some work. Remember, Phil Neville was saying that we got to stop giving up goals. He gives up 2. They give up 2 here, and had to score 3. Luckily, their offense produced more than what they usually do, or else this is another loss or a draw for them. But good for them to get the 3 points because they needed that. They really needed that. The Red Bulls at Red Bull Arena lost to Montreal 2-1. They got off to a hot start, though. Fernandez scoring in the 14th minute for the Red Bulls. Then, late in the game here, Camacho in the 71st minute. Kyoto, my boy Kyoto, in the 81st minute scores to make it 2-1 Montreal. This is something New York Red Bulls really probably wish they would have won, right? This would have put them second in the East with 13 points and only 3 behind Philadelphia with the same amount of games played. But now they sit third with 10 points, 6 games played. They can still get up to second if they win their game in hand over Orlando. But, it's just that's the momentum you want to do. And their home record right now sucks. They have 2 losses and a draw at home compared to 3 away wins, the Red Bulls. So they're very much an away team right now, which means if that sticks, I'm going to see an NYCFC victory when I go there for the Hudson River Derby, which, by the way, Fox apparently doesn't know the name of. Did you see the thing?
No, I didn't see that.
They put out a thing
I didn't
saying
see. I saw the rivalries, but I didn't see what they called it.
Best rivalries. Yeah. Final Third show shared this, and I commented on it. I was like, did Fox not know that it's the Hudson River Derby? They called it the New York Derby.
So this is kind of like the LeBron James of soccer kind of stuff, right? I mean,
yeah,
like the phenom guy, right? He's like the LeBron James of soccer.
Yeah,
it's like the New York Derby, right?
It's like the New York Derby. Dude, Seiya Suzuki just hit another home run. Sorry. Yeah, he did. Jordan's. I had to update Jordan on his fantasy team in baseball. Sorry for those that are listening, but you're right, Jordan. Like it. I don't know. Like it's embarrassing because like we get made fun of all the time. But I mean, I've got a Scottish kid in my class. I've got a British kid that I talk to all the time about soccer. And here we are in the United States. We can't even get stuff right. Like we can't talk intelligently about sports because it's ignorant.
The biggest issue, Logan, is that this is a media partner. This is somebody that broadcasts the games. They've called it the Hudson River Derby on the television. But when they put out this graphic, they just say New York Derby. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not the name of it. And people were saying that right. all in the comments. All in the comments were people like, it's the Hudson River Derby. It's the Hudson River Derby. It's the Hudson River Derby. Let me see if I can find it.
Fox Sports is going to host the World Cup. Like, what are they going to call that? Like the World Competition or something stupid? Like, this is the U.S. men's national team. Our best player is Tim Howard. Like what's happening? I mean, I hate when this happens. It just gives no credibility. And speaking of no credibility, I mean, you got New York teams that don't even play in New York. Like it is. There's a lot of things. I wanted to say one thing about the Revs, Jordan. Did you know that the Revs have the second lowest attendance, or third lowest attendance in the whole league? Do you know who the teams in front of them are? If you could guess, like which 2 teams have worse attendance records than the Revs? You know, the Supporters Shield
for the
winners.
Year, or
for the year.
Jeez.
They played one. There's your hint. They just played one.
Oh, was it
Miami.
Miami?
Yeah. Do you know who the worst attendance in MLS is right now?
Oh, jeez. I'm
They're in the
thinking
Western Conference.
they're in the Western Conference.
Mm-hmm.
Houston?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Who is it?
It is the Colorado Rapids.
Really?
Yeah, they have a really hard time filling out Dignity, or not Dignity. They're not Dignity. They're Dick's Sporting Goods.
No, they do have Dignity though, but that's not the name
They
of their
do.
ballpark.
Yeah.
Okay, I found it, by the way. Thank you for stalling while I look for this thing.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so they have El Trafico, Hell is Real, nicest rivalry in sports, the Minnesota SKC,
Mhm.
Texas Derby, Dallas and Houston, Heritage Cup, Sounders, Quakes, Trillion Cup is the Crew, Toronto, New York Derby. Got the Brimstone Cup, which is Chicago, Dallas, Rocky Mountain, Rapids, RSL, Cascadia. We know those teams. Atlantic Cup, DC, Red Bulls. California Classico is LA, San Jose. Canadian Classique is Montreal, Toronto. And Pioneer Cup, Dallas, Crew. I also really liked Union fans who were sharing this, saying like we are unrivaled. Which was good.
I love that.
But yeah, this is New York Derby. Come on.
And those
What
are
are we
huge markets in other sports too. It's just
Let's see if we can find some of these. Here you go. This is it's not the New York Derby, the Hudson River Derby. Say it louder for the fools in the back. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
These people pointing it out, right? Look, they have pointed out here.
I'm surprised they didn't call them like the Jersey Red Bulls or something stupid. Like put the wrong Red Bull logo in there, like put in the Leipzig one or something.
It is frustrating. It is frustrating that this is how Fox treats it. And look, the ratings for the LA game was awesome, like 400 some viewers when they put it on Big Fox. When they put it on FS1, it's like 170K. It's just people don't really go to FS1. It's in more houses than ESPN, which Logan was shocked to learn this morning.
I was floored.
It is not as watched, I would say. Just you know, just because it's part of a package doesn't mean people are using it. All right, so there you go. Hudson River Derby. I've said it a few times on this. I'm going to be going there. I'm going to make sure I tweet at Fox Sports when I go there. Make sure they know that that's the name of it. We had El Trafico this weekend, or the LA Derby, if you want to call it that. LA Galaxy versus LAFC with Chicharito scoring in the 13th minute, Koulibaly scoring in the 31st, and Arango scoring, pulling one back in the 79th minute. This was a good game, and I was rooting for the Galaxy here because it would keep LAFC with 13 points instead of 16. So the Union are clear in the Supporters Shield standings right now. But yeah, this is LA Galaxy versus LAFC. This is not something that LA Galaxy has really been good at recently.
Mm-hmm.
Before I talk out my butt, let me just double check that stat wise.
LAFC is the one that struggles at Carson.
Are they?
Yeah. They like
Scores
I don't think they've ever
pictures.
won. Is that the stats? Like they've not ever had real success against the Galaxy in Carson.
How do I check the head-to-head here? There's got to here it is. Okay.
Because I was reading, I guess the extra time power rankings, and I think it said that they really struggled against LA Galaxy in Carson. They're good against them
Galaxy,
in LA. FC
Galaxy
stadium.
won 4-3 in 2018. I think that's the one that we use in the opener with Zlatan, or the closing whenever we use it. Where he comes off the bench and scored 2 goals. That is it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2018. That was in Dignity. Then they drew in Dignity. They lost to LA Galaxy in Dignity. They lost 3-0 at Dignity. They lost 2-1 at Dignity Health Sports Park. Then they drew in 2021, and they lost in 2022. So if I share my screen here for the visual learners, I've highlighted all of their losses and draws at Dignity Health Sports Park.
Wow.
So yeah, you're right. All of their victories are coming from Bank of California Stadium. They also did beat them at Wairoa Sports during MLS's back. But even Galaxy has won a game at Bank of California Stadium, and they've also drawn there. So the head-to-head is actually favorable to the Galaxy with 6 wins, 5 draws, only 3 losses. To LAFC's 3 wins, 5 draws, 6 losses.
Wow.
That's kind of good.
Yeah, that's kind of shocking to me. Like they really don't like visiting the other part of LA. It's like, nah, I'm good. They'd rather not.
Well, I think what they would say is that it's not even LA.
Oh, you went there, huh?
Hey, man. I will say
it's not downtown.
I wore my Galaxy gear on Saturday, so I will say that much.
But isn't it fun to have them at the top of the table, 13-12? That's wild. LAFC with 13, Galaxy with 12. Gosh,
it is.
That West is so crowded.
Yeah, and I was talking about this too with somebody that I think it was with Jack again. But when we're looking at the Western Conference, right? Some of these teams are either going to have to drop out of this top spot, or else we're actually going to lose, I think, 4 of the playoff teams from last year. That's how crazy the West is, because Portland is out of a playoff spot, Rapids are out of a playoff spot, Minnesota's out of a playoff spot, Seattle's out of a playoff spot, and so are Kansas City. We'd actually lose 5 teams that were in the playoffs last year.
Because they gained Nashville.
Because you gained Nashville. Was Vancouver in the playoffs last year?
No, they just missed, I think. Right?
I think so, too.
I don't think they made the playoffs last year.
So here's your playoff teams right now for the West. LAFC, LA Galaxy, they both missed last year. RSL was...
Sorry, Vancouver did make it.
There you go. They did, okay.
Neither of the LA teams made it. That's where...
So you're looking at 6 of the 7 teams up here didn't make the playoffs last year. LAFC, LA Galaxy, Austin, Dallas, Houston, and Nashville made the playoffs, but in the East. So you're looking at 6 different Western teams in a playoff spot than last year. Now, of course, we have to keep stressing it is early, but that's crazy. Looking at 12th, 11th, and 10th spot, you're looking at Minnesota, Seattle, SKC. You're looking at the Rapids with 8 points. They were the winners of the West. They're 9th. Now, of course, point differences, right? Like Seattle in 11th place is only 3 points from Nashville. And Seattle has a game in hand. They've actually only played 5, while some of these teams have played 6 or 7. So, Seattle can jump back up there, no problem. I am worried about SKC now because they've had 7 games played and only have the 6 points. But SKC has played 4 games on the road, have lost all 4 of them. At home, they're 2 wins and a draw. 2 wins and a loss. So at home, they're actually pretty decent. They just haven't played a lot of home games.
Nashville's played none, and they're in the playoffs.
That is true. They're 3-2-1. 3 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. And that's exactly what Nashville needed. Let's talk about them instead of waiting to get there. They beat SKC at Children's Mercy Park 2-1. Talk about both of these teams. Walter took the lead in Remy Walter took the lead in the 25th minute for SKC, but then you're going to get a Romney goal in the 51st minute and CJ Sapong in the 68th to give Nashville a 2-1 victory. They're propelling that momentum from when they beat the Crew. They go out there and actually have close to 50-50 possession. They have more shots than SKC, and they had more shots on goal. So they actually outplayed them in Children's Mercy Park, and it's exactly what Nashville needed. They're up in the playoff spots. If they had lost this game, they'd be down in like 11th or 12th. SKC, though, on the other hand, really needed this win to help keep their home streak good. They would be at 3-0. They would have had 9 points. They'd be sitting at 8th place, right outside of a playoff spot or so. They can still get there, but it is worrying with how many games they've played compared to some of the other people.
Yeah, I mean, talking about Nashville, I mean, it really is impressive that they've done this on the road in a West that is very hard to win. I mean, this league,
yeah,
I would say this league, Jordan, is the hardest team, or this is the hardest league in the United States to win on the road. It just feels like this league has a tendency to be top heavy if you're at home. And Nashville is one of the toughest home teams in the whole league. I think maybe lost one game last year, maybe none at home, if I can remember correctly. They drew a ton last season, but it seems like they're kind of out of that, form. And if they can, I mean, they're going to be top heavy with a bunch of home games at the end of the season when all these other Western teams are having to fly all the way out to Nashville to play these guys in a new stadium that's going to be absolutely electric. So, I mean, it speaks volume to what Nashville's doing. Defensively, they've been really good. Not as good as the Union, but 5 goals given up, which is good. But the only thing I guess I would say as far as concern, I mean, CJ Sapong's going to score goals, but really, Jordan, it seems like every week that we talk about them, it's CJ Sapong. It's like, okay, who else is going to score? If it's not going to be Hani Mukhtar, it's going to be CJ Sapong. And they've only got 1 goal per game in the 6 games that they played. Kind of worried about that, like the average in which they play. So you'd like to see more goals, and like we said, I think we've talked about this numerous times. If they could just go out this summer and buy a big time striker where they could get a guy that gets you 10 to 15 goals, this team turns into a title contender, I think, easily in both of our minds, just because of how good they are back behind the 9. So while it's impressive that they've kind of they've been really steady here in the West, I really want to see them add some goal scoring because they could be one of the most fun teams to watch in this league.
I love watching Nashville.
Yeah.
They got a great kit too. I know we talked about it a lot. They really do.
Right. That's the kid of the year, right? Like Philly had the kid of the year last year. Like I think that's without question. He had the blue. This year, I think Nashville wins that title. Like I think without a doubt they've got.
It looks classic, and then you just got the nice little sound bar things on the side. I mean, looks nice. You don't have to get wacky with every kit. RSL drew with Toronto 2-2 at Rio Tinto. I'll be going there in a couple months. Just a Miram in the 7th minute gives them the lead, and then Cozy Thompson pulls one back and equalizes for Toronto in the 9th minute, so really quick start here. And then we had Krylock in the 43rd minute, Nelson scoring in the 79th minute, and that equalizes it. But then Salcedo is going to get a red card in the 86th minute for a serious foul, and that's all she wrote. Possession was pretty much 50-50, 51% towards Toronto. Shots very much favored RSL with 16-7. Shots on goal 4-3. And this leaves Toronto, who had a rough start to the season. They are currently residing in 8th place with 8 points, tied for a playoff spot with Columbus. They're just missing out due to like goal differential or goals for. I forget what the exact tiebreaker is, but they're right behind Columbus. With 6 games played. Pretty good for Bob Bradley's men here, as he started off a little slow, but they've been able to turn it around, Logan.
Yeah, he's playing the kids too. Cozy Thompson's a 19-year-old Canadian. They've got 2 really impressive Canadians, one in Jaden Nelson, 2 in Cozy Thompson. Both have a goal this season playing for Bob. Cozy's not played quite as much as Jaden, but both really good, midfielders. Players that are going to get forward and score the ball. I think if you're a Canadian national team person, you're excited because they're playing one in your backyard too. They're getting experience with Bob Bradley, who's one of the best coaches to ever do it here in the U.S. So, yeah, I mean, it is impressive. I think defensively, Toronto still struggles tremendously. They were not great last year either. And they've just got an aging defense that I just don't think is going to be fixed anytime soon. I think an infusion of youth is going to be what they need. And again, here we sit, and you just kind of have to watch Toronto, because in June, Insigne is going to make his appearance. And while it's just one player, it can make a big difference here in this league. I mean, we've seen what guys like Hani Mukhtar can do, guys like Carles Heel. You add in him with, Jonathan Osorio, and some of these front guys, Ayo Akinola, if he gets healthy. This could be a scary squad. It's just, can they stop things from leaking in the back? And then you flip over the RSL side. Damir Krylak's back. He'd missed some time. And he looked pretty good in his first, stint back. And actually, RSL's been really impressive, Jordan. I mean, they've kept up in the pace. They're third in the table. They've got 12 points. I think they're playing well. You and I thought they weren't going to be great. I think we both had them missing the playoffs this year because they lose Albert Rusnak. We just thought that there was just too much of a gap between them and the playoff teams. But I don't know. I like kind of both of the directions that they're heading. I mean, Toronto's in a different space. Toronto's much more in a rebuild. I think RSL, they actually had a good team, and they just need to kind of build in around Damir Krylak and maybe add some more pieces going through the summer.
All right, let's take a look at Dallas, Colorado, which finished 3-1 to Dallas, who's been off to a good start this season. Rubio scoring in the 30th minute to give Colorado an early lead, but then Servania scoring in the 45th +2, and Jesus Ferreira scoring in the 50th and 89th minute to seal the victory for FC Dallas, which leaves Dallas now 5th place in the West with 11 points out of 6 games played. They've been pretty good. 3 home wins, 1 draw, 1 away loss, and 1 away draw. So they've only played 2 away games compared to their 4 home games. So maybe this might be too much of a small sample size. Maybe as they play more away games, they might fall a bit. But it's nice to see FC Dallas near the top here.
Yeah, top 5 goals per 90 minutes, 1.67. They're tied with the Crew and Dynamo in that 5th spot. Well, actually, it'd be the 4th spot. Sorry. That'd be the 4th spot they're all tied for. In behind Montreal, Houston, or Austin, and Los Angeles. So, I mean, all the Texas teams have kind of outperformed, I think, expectations. Dallas has probably been the most impressive of them all, I think, just because the 3-headed attack that they have. I think that when you're looking at them, Alan Velasquez looked really good. I think Jesus Ferreira is out to prove Logan Stump wrong this season. He says, I'm going to shove your 9 right up you, and you can take it home with you. So I don't know. I'm impressed. Jesus is tied with Brandon Vasquez. 2 Americans, Jordan. There's our number 9s. We've got them. So we can just take them to the World Cup, and we'll win the World Cup. I mean, this is prime Ronaldo scoring, I think, at this rate. Jesus Ferreira going to score about 10 in the World Cup, lead us to victory. Brandon Vasquez coming in off the bench, giving us some, Josie Altidore 2010, 2014-ish vibes. So I don't know. I do like what Dallas is doing. Paul Arriola adding into that mix, man, that's so huge for Dallas. And they just look really good defensively, too. One of the better defensive teams, too. So it's just been a lot of fun to kind of watch them play. I wish more people would go out to the game and also watch them play. But so
do you know who could use Paul Arriola right now?
Chelsea.
DC United.
Oh, I was like, what? Yeah.
DC United could have used him. All I'm saying. Okay. Houston over San Jose, 4-3. We get a Ferreira goal, Sebastian Ferreira. Let's not confuse with Jesus Ferreira. Scoring for Houston 1-0 in the 8th minute. Then Abobasi is going to score 2 in the 25th and 28th minute to give San Jose a surprise lead. And then it's going to fall apart here. Quintero scores in the 43rd minute to make it 2-2. Hadebe makes it 3-2 in the 57th minute. Ferreira scores again to make it 4-2 in the 68th minute. And then we get a Tommy Thompson goal in the 77th minute to pull one back to make it 4-3. And There you go. That's a Houston home game, by the way. But San Jose, Logan, are the worst team in MLS. 2 points as Miami now got a victory. They now sit alone at the bottom of the standings through 6 games. They have no wins. They have 4 losses and 2 draws, hence the 2 points. They've scored 9 goals and given up 15. That puts them with a negative 6 goal differential, which is not the worst in MLS, but second worst in the West anyway.
At what point do they fire Matias Almeida? Like, does it ever happen?
I don't know.
This is so embarrassing.
Understand. I have no idea why they haven't fired him yet or why he hasn't quit yet. They're obviously happy. Right? What I equate it to is that they are like trying to stay married until the kids are out to college or something.
Yeah, Jackson.
But in this case, it's until what, the end of the season? That might be
I don't
too
see
long.
I don't see them parting ways with him in the season. I really don't. Which sounds really strange.
Who do you hire?
Yeah, right. Landon. Even though they don't like him there, like
he used to play there though, so there is a history there. But
is Wondolowski, is he interested in coaching? Like I'd
probably think not, but Landon could be a good fit, guys.
I think there was talk about, I don't know where Lucci ended up, but there was talk about that in the offseason.
Lucci's with the U.S.
Was he the U.S.? Okay. So that's
I don't know if he would want to leave
Ramos?
before the World Cup, though, would he? If you're assistant,
yeah.
If you're an assistant or something, would you want to go before?
Maybe Jason Kreis, if you could pull him away from Miami. I don't know. Pep Guardiola, Fernandinho, player coach. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah, he's an assistant coach to U.S. Luchi Gonzalez. So
that's no. Tab.
I wouldn't, like, if I was an assistant coach, I'm like, hey, I know I could be a coach somewhere else, but like, I'm going to a World Cup. I can sit on the bench and do my job, and I get to see a new country and see all of these other great teams play. I'm not leaving. I'm not getting a new job until the start of next season if I'm Lucci.
I don't know.
But good for Houston, getting a victory. Portland beat Vancouver in a Cascadia Cup matchup in Vancouver with a Spria penalty kick in the 42nd minute. Nias Goda scoring in the 60th minute to make it 2-0. And then Dahome is going to score in the 76th to make it 2-1. But Jimmy Chara is going to score in the 78th minute to make it 3-1. And then a gold penalty in the 90+6 minute to give it a 3-2 final score. 50-50 exactly possession, according to MLSsoccer.com. But 17 shots to Vancouver for Portland to have 5. But Portland is going to end up with the victory here. Good for Portland. They probably needed this. They sit right outside of a playoff spot. They haven't been too hot this year, but get enough to get 9 points throughout the course of the season so far. And awful for Vancouver, who sits with 4 points and a -7 goal differential, which is the worst in the Western Conference.
I mean, I guess if you're Portland fans, like, you're really concerned about the defense. I don't think scoring goals is really going to be an issue for them going forward. Like, Nias Goda is going to score goals. The Charas are going to score goals, right? Aspria eventually scores goals. So I don't know. Like, you look at the defense and they've given up some more, what is it? 13, 15? What was there? I lost it. 13 goals. And that's tied that's second to last in the West.
It has 12 here on MLS website.
Does it? That's weird. FBref has 13. Well, either way, like, either that or they're tied for the second worst with Vancouver. So, I mean,
Oh, no, Portland's 13. You're right. Yeah, Vancouver is 12. Sorry. I thought you were
talking about both of them. Like, both of them. But the thing about that is, like, Portland's only better because they can score goals. And you and I talked about this at the beginning of the season. You asked me, did Vancouver add? Could this team be any better since they just subtracted everything? No. Brian White hasn't been healthy and he comes back and he's not been scoring at the rate he was last year. So that, it's only a couple games, but that's major concerns. 5 goals. I mean, that's like Cincinnati level a couple years ago. So
yeah.
Ugh. Both teams. Ugh.
Charlotte got the big victory over Atlanta at Bank of America Stadium, which is 1-0. Alcivar, is that how you say it? Alcivar. There you go. Okay. Jordi Alcivar scores what we call an Olympiaco, right, where he scores from the corner. Brady Guzan has to make this save, right? Like we've talked about it a lot. It's time for Guzan to move on from Atlanta.
No doubt. Atlanta, like Jordan, I mean, we talked about this. Are they just a collection of really good players, like shiny pieces that just don't play well together? Have we gotten to that point where they're just a bottom playoff team and that's what they're the most expensive roster in the whole league?
That's probably the case. I think they had the new bump with Pineda, but I feel like they've kind of slipped back into how they were. Just not a good collection together. Plus, Joseph is now hurt still, right? Mm-hmm. He's getting surgery to remove some stuff in the knee, which is going to put him out for a bit. It's rough.
They lost Araujo.
But good for honestly, Charlotte. Let's say that.
Yeah. Soderski looks great. I mean, this team looks great. This is not a talented bunch on paper.
Now you can buy our merch because it'd be ironic.
Fooked. Right.
It'd be ironic. You guys are not fooked. You guys are good.
I think we should make a shirt, Jordan, that says like we are not, and then like crossed out or like the little carrot and be like, we are not so fooked.
There you go. That's an idea.
Get on that.
Yeah. But yeah, they sit all the way in what is that? 5th place of the East.
Yeah.
9 points. It's pretty good.
They look creative too. Soderski, he's like a false 9 and a 9 and like a creating midfielder. Like I don't know what to think of him. He just does it all, man. I've really impressed with him.
Atlanta sits 4th with 10 points out of 6 games. So they still have more points than Charlotte in less games. But they haven't really been as good this year as you would like it if you're an Atlanta fan. I'm sure there's some Atlanta fans out there, pouring a cold one after that game. Austin beats Minnesota 1-0 in the last game of the weekend with Urruti scoring in the 58th minute. Not much else happened here. Austin had most possession with 57%. They had more shots, 11-9. And they had more shots on goal, 5-3. But Austin gets a victory. We talked about that. They're up in the playoff spots as well. They're one of the teams that are newly in a playoff spot, and they're in a home playoff spot, Logan, with 6 games played, while Salt Lake has 7 games played and only 1 point more above them. Is Austin a real competitor for a playoff spot this year?
I think so. They got a collection of talent that they haven't had. Now, mind you, they lost a huge piece, and it could be for quite some time because Cecilio Dominguez has been removed from the roster on, I think.
Yes, that's right.
Because he was suspended for off-field actions, which is typically, and I hate to speculate, but it's typically criminal charges is typically where that lies, or drug use. So I don't know what happened. It's typically nothing but that. I don't think
probably
it
like
was
a domestic situation.
Yeah,
not to speculate, but
right.
It's kind of like what happened with Polo, right? Andy
Yes.
Polo. Except hopefully Austin didn't try to cover this one up.
Right. And people said, well, what about Visa? I'm like, no, they would tell you if it was Visa. Like it wouldn't MLS.
Union always said if it was a Visa with Corey Burke and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, they would definitely want to get that out there so that way you don't think less of them, right?
Right. This is concerning big time. If they lose Cecilio Dominguez, man, like he's been really good this season and he's part of that, front three that's really giving people a hard time this season. I mean, it's a good thing Sebastian's playing on an unreal level. And Maxi Rudy's a good, sub-in temporarily, but I just don't know. If you lose Cecilio, yikes. But yeah, right now, Jordan, I'd say they're a contender. They've defended pretty well. They're really hard to beat at home. So, yeah, I'm going to go with yes.
All right, let's head up to Game of the Week preview.
It's time for the Match of the Week preview.
Match of the Week preview, where we preview the upcoming scheduled games and pick each a game that interests us for what to keep an eye on. So we have tomorrow, April 13th. You might be listening to it on that day, but NYCFC versus Seattle at 9 o'clock on FS1. And guess where that game's played? Red Bull Arena. Just to throw
That's
some more
weird. I didn't know
confusion
the Red Bull were playing.
in there. Yeah, it's the New York Derby.
Gotcha.
What's going on there? But NYCFC is supposed to be missing some players as well in this game. He's going to be without Maxi Morales and Maxime Chanot. So not good, but Seattle can move on as long as Seattle loses or draws 0-0 or 1-1 or 1-0 loss. They can also move on if they score 1 and NYCFC score 2. But you would think Seattle is going to try to get some points here, get some goals to move on, get to the final.
Pumas was winning against they were winning against Club America.
Yes, 2-1.
Yeah.
Cruz Azul is who they were playing.
Sorry, yeah, that's what I meant. I like that matchup better. Give me Pumas, don't give me. I don't want Cruz Azul.
Yes, that would be a better matchup for Seattle, I think, as well. Saturday we have Montreal versus Vancouver at 3 o'clock. At 3:30 we have the Univision TUDN Twitter game of San Jose versus Nashville. This is another chance for Nashville to get some more points because of how San Jose's been playing. Atlanta hosts Cincinnati at 6 o'clock. Maybe a chance for them to get something right here. Houston host Portland at 6 o'clock. New York Red Bulls host Dallas at 7. Crew host Orlando at 7:30. DC host Austin at 7:30. Revs host Charlotte at 7:30. A chance for Charlotte to maybe give New England another loss and really make people wonder what's going on in New England. I bet you they're going to blame it on the crest. Then you have Toronto hosting Philly at 7:30. Chicago host LA Galaxy at 8 o'clock. Minnesota hosts Colorado at 8. And then the other primetime game, FS1, 10 o'clock, Seattle versus Miami at Lumen Field. Then on Sunday on Easter, soccer will rise again. New York City, 1 o'clock over RSL. That is at Yankee Stadium. And then LAFC hosting SKC at Bank of California Stadium on ESPN. So what game out of these really jumps out to you?
This is kind of a weird mix of games this weekend. I'm going to go with. I'll probably take the one that you. Well, no, actually, I lie. There's two games that I now see. I didn't see that one before. I'm going to go Red Bull and FC Dallas at Red Bull Arena. I don't know. I'm looking forward to the way that Red Bull defend. I'm looking for because Dallas likes to get out and attack, and Red Bull like to hunker down and play defense and kind of counter on that attack. So this could be a blast. I mean, this game could be a lot better, I think, than people realize. I think that with Dallas's defense the way that it is, it could be a staunchy game where guys just don't give up goals. It could be a 0-0 draw, or this thing could end in a shootout 3-2 or something. So
what do we call this? We call it the Bull Derby because they got the Bulls, and then
this can be called the Bull Crap.
And then Dallas has like the bull in their logo. So there you go. You got.
This is bullshit. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Which one are you looking forward to?
That's a good question. I think I actually really am looking forward to the Revolution versus Charlotte.
I was hoping you would pick that one.
Yeah. The Revs are hosting. They haven't been great at Gillette Field. Charlotte hasn't been as good on the road as they have been at home. So there's a chance here to see what both of these teams are really made of. If the Revs lose, I feel like Revs Nation are going to start.
It's over. We are screwed.
They're going to start pulling the Michael Scott here. because if you can't pick up a win against an expansion team at your home, it's going to get a little dicey, I think, for Bruce and the rest of the Revs.
Yeah, we'll have to have the Rev recap guys on next week, so that way we can talk to them about it. Or
Especially
we wanted to have them in Sporting Kansas City. We could do a podcast of despair. We could have Sporting Kansas City guys on with the Revs guys. Might pull in like some San Jose guys,
just
like Jaden
cry out
them.
the feelings.
Yeah.
Let it all out. It's a safe space. We can have this song playing the whole time they're letting it out. Just
Right.
kind of mellow them. Right.
Right.
Anything else before we head out of here?
Oh yeah, Gio Reyna. Thoughts go out to him. I mean, the poor guy. If you didn't see it, done for the year. Hamstring is a hamstring, right? He's got to have some clearing, some workout, some surgery. So not good for the U.S. men's national team. He played really well last window, and gosh, if you haven't seen the video, it's soul crushing.
And Dortmund is, I think, moving on from their training guy because they've had a lot of injury issues since he's taken over. So
hopefully
you can't even say it's really Reyna. I feel like it's got to be they're not preparing him right because he was fine here with us.
Right. Hopefully it fixes its issue because he's crucial going into that World Cup because of just how talented I think he is, and people forget just because he's been hurt so much lately. So, I mean, I thought Jordan Hughes one of the most impressive players last window. So,
yeah,
it's a bummer.
Huge bummer. Well, let's end on a bummer, I guess. But if you want to follow us, you can reach us on Twitter at Stateside Show, Instagram at Stateside Show, Facebook.com/Stateside Show, email us stateside show@gmail.com. And we're going to have an MLS team in the CCL final. So make sure you get prepared for that. That'll be coming your way. When is the final?
CCL final? I have no idea.
I mean, it's two legs, right?
Yeah, I have no idea.
So the final is May 5th is one of the dates.
May the 5th be with you.
Okay, so the first leg would be April 26th or 28th, or second leg is May 3rd or May 5th, like between that time frame.
Revenge of the 5th.
Jeez, that's close, man.
Yeah. We're going to get to know if we're going to get to play Man City or not. Like, that's exciting.
Yep. Will the Sounders do it? It's got to be them, right? NYCFC is probably not turning this around.
Right. Can we play can they play the Club World Cup? Can they play it here in the States? Is that possible? No. Damn.
They should. They could.
Cool.
But they always play it in like Qatar or Japan or some random place.
Bring it here, man. Bring it to New York, man. We'll play in the baseball stadium. That'd be exciting. We'll play with City. We'll tell City like you have to come over here if they won the world or if they won Champions League. Be like, all right, we got to play in your baseball stadium and see how they like it and see Pep
and if you don't like it, figure out something to get this team out of there.
Right.
No team likes playing in Yankee Stadium.
No.
Except for the Yankees, I guess. But that'll wrap us up. I hope everyone has a great week. We'll catch you all next time. We'll know who's in the CCL final, and we will celebrate them. And we will also take a look at all those games from the weekend. I hope everyone has a safe Easter holiday if you celebrate, and enjoy.
Jordan, there's a new steel curtain in the Northeast. It's called Jim.
That actually works because we used to have an affiliate called the Bethlehem Steel. So I mean that really works.
It poo-poos on the old Steelers there. So there you go.
Yeah, so it's a double whammy for me. I like it.
There you go.